Have you ever wondered which Robin is actually the best? Not based on fan popularity or nostalgia, but according to cold, hard data? Today we're putting all 6 major Robins through a scientific analysis to determine once and for all who deserves the top spot. We'll measure each Robin across 3 key criteria: physical abilities, major villain victories, and psychological resilience. Each Robin gets scored in these categories and placed in a tier from F all the way up to S tier. We're talking Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, Stephanie Brown, and even Carrie Kelley from the Dark Knight Returns timeline. By the end, you'll see some surprising results that might completely change how you rank these sidekicks. Let's dive into the data. Dick Grayson sets the baseline for what a Robin should be. Coming from Haley's circus, he brought natural acrobatic abilities that no other Robin has matched. We're talking about someone who could perform quadruple somersaults before he even met Batman. His flexibility and agility scores are off the charts. He can bend his body in ways that would hospitalize most people. Under Batman's training, Dick developed into a complete fighter over 8 years as Robin, the longest tenure of any Robin, giving him time to master not just combat techniques, but leadership skills. The progression data shows steady improvement across all metrics during his Robin years. But here's where Dick really shines: his major villain victories. As Robin, he helped take down the Joker multiple times and played crucial roles in defeating Two-Face and the Penguin. As Nightwing, he single-handedly defeated Blockbuster, one of the most physically powerful villains in Gotham. His confrontations with Deathstroke show tactical thinking that rivals Batman himself. The Titans' leadership data is particularly impressive. Under Dick's command, the team had an 87% mission success rate and 0 permanent member casualties. That's not just combat effectiveness, that's strategic brilliance and team coordination at the highest level. Dick's resilience factors are equally strong. He successfully transitioned from sidekick to independent hero without major psychological breaks. When you look at trauma response data, Dick shows remarkable adaptation skills. He's been shot, beaten, and psychologically tortured, but maintains stable relationships and continues effective crime fighting. The injury recovery metrics tell the story too. Dick bounced back from a broken back faster than medically expected and returned to peak performance. His psychological resilience helped him overcome the trauma of losing his parents and adapt to life with Bruce Wayne without developing the same darkness that consumes Batman. Dick Grayson scores: physical ability, 9 out of 10. Major villain victories, 8 out of 10. Resilience, 9 out of 10. Total, 26 out of 30. Dick earns S-tier ranking, the gold standard that every other Robin gets measured against. Jason Todd presents the most complex data set of any Robin. Pre-death, Jason brought street fighting experience that gave him advantages in close combat situations. Growing up rough in Crime Alley meant he could handle himself in ways that privileged Dick Grayson couldn't initially match. His aggression-based combat style was brutally effective. Jason's win rate against street-level criminals was actually higher than Dick's during comparable time periods. He wasn't afraid to hit harder or take bigger risks, which translated to faster takedowns of multiple opponents. Jason's villain defeat record as Robin includes solid wins against the Penguin and impressive showings against the Joker. But here's where the data gets complicated: the death incident. Jason's tactical failure wasn't just bad luck. Analysis shows he ignored Batman's direct orders, rushed into a trap, and failed to call for backup when outmatched. That death should end the analysis, but Jason's resurrection changes everything. Post-resurrection capabilities show significant improvements. His strength increased by approximately 30%, likely due to Lazarus Pit enhancement. His tactical thinking improved dramatically. Red Hood operates with calculated precision that Rob and Jason never displayed. The anti-hero approach effectiveness metrics are impressive. As Red Hood, Jason maintains lower crime rates in his territory than most other vigilantes achieve. His willingness to kill removes repeat offenders permanently, creating a statistical advantage in crime reduction that traditional heroes can't match. But the psychological resilience measurements reveal the cost. Jason's trauma response includes severe trust issues, anger management problems, and difficulty maintaining relationships. His adaptation required becoming a fundamentally different person. Arguably, the original Jason Todd died and stayed dead psychologically. The combat effectiveness ratios post-resurrection are undeniably strong. Jason can go toe-to-toe with opponents who would overwhelm most other Robins. His firearms training and tactical gear usage give him versatility that pure martial arts can't match. However, his tactical failures as Robin can't be ignored. The decision-making that led to his death represents a massive operational failure that cost Batman emotionally and strategically. Even with his improvements as Red Hood, those early mistakes weigh heavily in the analysis. Jason Todd scores physical abilities 8 out of 10, major villain victories 6 out of 10, resilience 4 out of 10, total 18 out of 30. Jason earns C-tier ranking. His resurrection improvements are impressive, but the death incident and ongoing psychological instability create too many operational risks for higher placement. Tim Drake represents a completely different approach to being Robin. While Dick had natural athleticism and Jason brought street experience, Tim's superpower is his brain. This kid figured out Batman and Robin's secret identities when he was 13 years old, not through luck or accident, but through methodical detective work that would impress Sherlock Holmes. The deductive reasoning capabilities are where Tim truly excels. Independent case-solving data shows Tim cracked mysteries that stumped even Batman on multiple occasions. We're talking about puzzle-solving speed that's literally superhuman. Tim can process crime scene evidence, connect seemingly unrelated clues, and develop accurate theories faster than trained detectives with decades of experience. Here's the qualification that matters. Tim solved the identity crisis of multiple villains during his first year as Robin, including cases that had been cold for months. His accuracy rate on initial hypotheses sits at 94%. That's higher than most forensic scientists achieve with laboratory equipment and unlimited time. But Tim had a major disadvantage. He wasn't a natural athlete like the others. His physical capability started significantly below Dick's acrobatic background or Jason's street fighting experience. So, how did he compensate? Strategic thinking and preparation that borders on obsessive. Tim approaches every confrontation like a chess match. He studies opponent patterns, identifies weaknesses, and develops specific countermeasures before engaging. This preparation-based combat style means he rarely gets surprised and almost never loses fights due to tactical errors. The major villain confrontations prove this approach works. Tim's encounter with Ra's al Ghul are particularly impressive. He earned the League of Assassins' leaders' respect through pure intellect, something few heroes achieve. As Red Robin, Tim's solo victories include taking down entire criminal organizations through investigation and strategic planning rather than brute force. Technology integration is another area where Tim dominates. His staff weapon mastery and gadget innovation show engineering capabilities that rival Batman's own tech development. Tim doesn't just use existing equipment, he improves it, customizes it, and creates entirely new solutions for specific problems. The resilience analysis reveals Tim's greatest strength and weakness. He handled massive family trauma when his parents died, maintained his identity through multiple costume changes, and adapted to working independently when necessary. But Tim also shows signs of obsessive behavior and perfectionist tendencies that can become self-destructive. Tim Drake scores physical abilities 7 out of 10, major villain victories 9 out of 10, resilience 8 out of 10, total 24 out of 30. Tim earns A-tier ranking. His detective skills and strategic thinking make him arguably the most effective Robin in complex situations. Damian Wayne breaks every rule about what a Robin should be. Trained by the League of Assassins from birth, he achieved in 2 years what took other Robins much longer to develop. We're talking about someone who is literally bred and trained to be the perfect fighter. The League of Assassins training benefits are measurable and dramatic. Damian's skill development timeline shows accelerated learning that defies normal human limitations. By age 10, he had mastered weapons and combat techniques that adult martial artists struggle with for decades. His muscle memory and reflexes were programmed through repetitive training that started before he could walk. Age-adjusted performance metrics make Damian's achievements even more impressive. He's accomplished more per year of active duty than any other Robin, including taking leadership roles and making strategic decisions that most adults couldn't handle. When you factor in age, Damian's effectiveness ratios are off the charts. The genetic advantages from his bloodline are scientifically significant. As Bruce Wayne's biological son, Damian inherited advanced reflexes, pattern recognition abilities, and the Wayne family's natural aptitude for tactical thinking. But he also got Talia al Ghul's genetic contributions, including accelerated healing, enhanced stamina, and resistance to toxins that regular humans don't possess. Damian's major villain defeats are impressive considering his limited experience. He's taken down opponents who should theoretically overpower a child. using combinations of skill, strategy, and pure ruthlessness that catch enemies off guard. His wins against adult assassins and superpowered opponents demonstrate capabilities that exceed normal human limitations. Leadership potential shows in his Teen Titans coordination. Despite personality conflicts, Damian's team effectiveness ratings are surprisingly high. He makes tactical decisions quickly and correctly, even when team members disagree with his methods. The results speak for themselves. Missions succeed under his command. But here's where the data gets complicated. Psychological challenges. Damian's anger management issues and moral development problems create significant operational risks. His training emphasized killing as a first resort, requiring constant retraining to operate within Batman's moral framework. The anger management metrics show gradual improvement but ongoing concerns. Damian's tendency toward excessive force and difficulty with authority figures creates team friction that impacts overall effectiveness. He's learning restraint, but the process is slow and inconsistent. Moral development progress is measurable, but concerning. Damian struggles with concepts like mercy and proportional response that other Robins understand intuitively. His effectiveness comes partially from willingness to cross lines that heroes typically won't cross. Damian Wayne scores: physical abilities 10 out of 10, major villain victories 7 out of 10, resilience 5 out of 10, total 22 out of 30. Damian earns B tier ranking. While his physical abilities are unmatched, his anger management issues and moral development problems create significant team coordination challenges that limit his overall effectiveness. Stephanie Brown represents the ultimate underdog story in Robin history. She didn't have circus training, street experience, detective genius, or genetic advantages. What she had was pure determination and the ability to achieve remarkable results with limited resources. The resource limitation analysis tells an incredible story. Stephanie operated without Wayne family funding, advanced training facilities, or high-tech equipment. She taught herself combat techniques, developed her own strategies, and created makeshift gear that somehow worked against opponents with million-dollar budgets. Her self-taught combat progression shows learning capabilities that defy normal expectations. As spoiler, Stephanie went from amateur vigilante to competent crime fighter in record time. When she became Robin, her improvement rate actually accelerated under pressure. But here's what makes Stephanie truly remarkable: her resilience measurements. She's recovered from being dismissed as Robin, survived apparent death, and came back stronger each time. The villain confrontation success rates are impressive considering her disadvantages. Stephanie defeated Cluemaster, her own father, through strategic thinking rather than superior fighting skills. She contributed to major victories against Black Mask and other high-level threats while operating with equipment that other Robins would consider inadequate. Team coordination abilities show Stephanie's greatest strength. She integrated with Bat family members despite initial resistance from Batman himself. Her ability to work effectively with Tim Drake, Cassandra Cain, and Barbara Gordon demonstrates social intelligence that compensates for her technical disadvantages. Stephanie's rapid skill acquisition under pressure is scientifically fascinating. When thrown into situations beyond her training level, she adapts in real time rather than failing. This ability makes her unpredictable to enemies who expect standard Robin tactics and capabilities. The adaptive learning capabilities extend beyond combat. Stephanie modified her approach based on each failure, developing personal fighting styles that maximized her strengths while minimizing weaknesses. She turned being underestimated into a tactical advantage. Her psychological profile shows someone who thrives on proving doubters wrong. While other Robins might crumble under criticism, Stephanie channeled negative feedback into improvement motivation. Stephanie Brown scores: physical capabilities 6 out of 10, major villain victories 6 out of 10, resilience 9 out of 10, total 21 out of 30. Stephanie earns C tier ranking. Her incredible heart and determination are admirable, but the significant gaps in training and resources ultimately limit her effectiveness against high-level threats. Carrie Kelley operates in the Dark Knight Returns timeline, where Gotham has become a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The environment provides unique data about Robin effectiveness under extreme conditions that other timelines never experienced. The Dark Knight Returns timeline effectiveness shows Carrie succeeding where traditional law enforcement completely failed. She operated independently in a Gotham overrun by mutant gangs, corrupt officials, and social collapse. Most importantly, she did this without extensive support systems that other Robins take for granted. Cross-dimensional capability comparison reveals interesting patterns. Carrie's resourcefulness and independence exceed most main universe Robins because her environment demanded it. She couldn't rely on Wayne Manor's resources, advanced technology, or backup from other heroes. Every mission was essentially a survival scenario. Independent operation success rates are remarkable. Carrie functioned effectively with minimal Batman supervision during a period when Bruce Wayne was physically and mentally compromised. She made tactical decisions, coordinated with allies, and maintained operational effectiveness while essentially running solo missions. Combat effectiveness in hostile environments shows adaptation skills that other Robins never needed to develop. Carrie fought mutant gangs with enhanced strength and weapons while using improvised equipment and guerrilla tactics. Her survival rate in these conditions suggests capabilities that standard training doesn't provide. Resource management and adaptation skills demonstrate creativity under pressure. Carrie maximized limited equipment, developed unconventional strategies, and maintained effectiveness despite operating in a collapsed infrastructure. She turned environmental disadvantages into tactical advantages through pure ingenuity. The alternate reality context makes direct comparison difficult, but Carrie's achievements relative to her circumstances are impressive. She helped restore order to Gotham that seemed beyond saving, working with an aging Batman who was past his prime. However, limited canonical appearances restrict our dataset. We can't measure long-term effectiveness or compare her against the full range of villains that other Robins faced. Carrie Kelley scores: physical abilities 6 out of 10, major villain victories 4 out of 10, resilience 7 out of 10, total score 17 out of 30. Carrie earns F-tier ranking. While she showed promise in her timeline, the limited canonical appearances and lack of extensive villain confrontations make it impossible to verify consistent performance against the full spectrum of threats other Robins face. The scientifically determined rankings show clear performance tiers. Dick Grayson dominates S tier with its unmatched balance of abilities. Tim Drake claims A tier through pure detective brilliance. B tier features Damian Wayne, whose raw talent can't overcome his psychological limitations. C tier includes both Jason Todd and Stephanie Brown. Jason held back by his traumatic instability, Stephanie by resource limitations. Carrie Kelley falls to F tier due to insufficient data for proper evaluation. The most surprising finding? Tim Drake's intellectual approach proves nearly as effective as Dick's natural leadership, while physical powerhouses like Damian struggle with teamwork issues that limit their overall impact. Subscribe for more superhero science breakdowns where we put your favorite characters through rigorous analysis.